I'm Andrew Moran, Liberty Nation's economics editor.
Very, very rocky.
Death by government.
Drain the swamp.
Hello and welcome to another installment of Liberty Nation's Swamponomics videocast. I'm Andrew Moran, Liberty Nation's economics editor. This week, U.S. taxpayers have lost billions from the 2-year-old CHIPS and Science Act. In March, the U.S. Department of Commerce proposed giving up to $8.5 billion for the CHIPS and Science Act to Intel to advance the company's semiconductor manufacturing and technology leadership in the artificial intelligence era. This was not all. Here's what the company also announced at the time. Quote, Intel also expects to benefit from a U.S. Treasury Department investment tax credit of up to 25% on more than $100 billion in qualified investments and eligibility for federal loans up to $11 billion. So, Intel, with an $85 billion market cap, essentially received free money as part of President Biden's corporate welfare endeavors. So, why does this matter? Well, on August 1st, Intel announced that it would slash more than 15% of its workforce to reduce costs. So in other words, the company is cutting 15,000 jobs to save $10 billion by 2025. Heck, it's not even satisfying shareholders at the time, as the corporation confirmed it will not pay its fourth quarter dividend. Ouch. Once again, federal government subsidizing large corporations has turned out to be a failed pursuit. But even if it were a successful endeavor that resulted in solid economic activity, as yet to materialize, and new jobs, as yet to happen, subsidizing domestic and foreign corporations is not sound economics. Liberty Nation News has reported extensively on the number of rich multinational corporations taking advantage of U.S. taxpayers. In the latest example of this, in July, the Biden administration announced $1.7 billion in conversion grants to some of the biggest automakers on the planet, such as General Motors, Fiat Chrysler, Volvo, and Harley-Davidson. Taxpayers are funding these companies' overhaul of at-risk factories so they can produce electric vehicles. And then when you do the math for various other initiatives in the name of creating jobs, you will find that taxpayers will pay hundreds of thousands of dollars per position. Is this a wise return on investment? Up in Canada, Justin Trudeau certainly thinks so, as taxpayers are paying a handsome sum of money to protect a few jobs at a pasta plant. Yeesh. But what is befuddling about legislation like the Inflation Reduction Act and the CHIPS and Science Act is that they have yet to lead to any results. The Institute for Supply Management's Manufacturing Purchasing Managers Index, a gauge of where the trend is heading, has been stuck in contraction territory for 4 consecutive months in July. Even the alternative S&P Global and Manufacturing PMI slipped into the recession zone in July. The good news, however, is that manufacturing capacity has been growing steadily since June 2022. This statistic refers to the number of products a company can produce in a specific period of time. If there is little demand, then it is a moot point. And then you have the plethora of other boondoggles. You have $7.5 billion that has resulted in only 7 or 8 public EV charging stations being constructed. You have the multiple closures of windmills and companies connected to the Chinese Communist Party taking advantage of US taxpayer money. Of course, besides the boondoggles, blunders, and bloopers, it is the basic economics, or as Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen calls it, modern supply-side economics that really hurts. But remember, the Inflation Reduction Act was never about fighting inflation. Even President Biden admits this. It was about employing a lighter version of the Green New Deal. But this would have been hard to market with inflation ravaging households everywhere. Who cares about a solar panel when my family can hardly put food on the table? In the end, it is the ratchet effect. Never let a crisis go to waste, and then install economic policies that are difficult to reverse because they are already implemented. That's it for me this week. Please read my full Swamponomics column on the pages of LibertyNation.com, and be sure to check out my previous Swamponomics TV videos and interviews. Thank you.
I'm Andrew Moran, Liberty Nation's economics editor.
Very, very rocky.
Death by government.
Drain the swamp.